Good evening, everybody. Anyway, Friday already, eh? Gosh, where's time flown? Anyway, good evening and welcome. Excuse me. And I hope everybody is okay. Did you see the show earlier with Nisha? Well, not good. Really good. Really good. All the way from India. Yeah, we were all the way from India. Anyway, if you want to be on the show, just let us know. And if we got the date and the time, we'll fit you in. If we haven't, then we will definitely get you in when we can. Okay, don't forget, guys, we're waiting for Angela Roth to come on. And what we usually do, we give them around about 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Then we move on. Okay, go back out and come back in again. So what we're gonna do? She's here at backstage. So what we do is that we just telling her to come in, come back out again, and we'll be ready and raring to go. So I hope everybody's okay. Um, so yeah, I hope everybody is doing well and keeping okay. Um, we just come back from, I don't know if you know it, but we just come back from sunny Somerset. You know, they say in Somerset, they say um, about the cider, don't they? And everything, and all the flowers in Somerset, and you know everything's supposed to be kind of um, sunny, but it wasn't when I was away. No, it was raining. It was raining. So poor Michelle, she got drenched, and that was it. And well, I can't see you there. I can't see you. Didn't tell me. Sorry. Oh, it says I can see you, but it's not. Um, no, no, no. Um, can't see you anywhere. Oh, no, I can't. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
We're
Oh,
finally here.
sorry, you're finally here, yes. Can you hear me all right?
I can't. Can you turn it up a little bit, please?
Turn it up a bit, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Here we go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
You're quite quiet, let me just turn it.
Good evening, and yes, I am totally wet through. Yes, I am gusted with wind when I went to Somerset. Yes, so I got back around about a few hours ago, and I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do? So I went in the shower quick, come out, my hair's all over the place, and guess what? Who's worried? Anyway, Angela, well, how are you?
Yeah, well, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, also, actually, we didn't get too wet today.
It's horrible weather, though, isn't it?
Yeah, very intermittent.
Yes, I went to Somerset, see, and when I was in Somerset, I went to Somerset, and it was. I thought it's going to be really, really nice. The sun came out my first day I was there. Second day, it just poured down, and that was it. But never mind. We didn't come here to kind of like talk about the weather. We came here to talk about you. Tell everybody about you, Angela.
Well, I am mum of four children, and oh, I'm on my own now.
Yeah, you're right.
I
Yeah,
Is
don't
that
worry.
okay? So I used to be a policewoman in my earlier years, and then found that very difficult with children. So I gave that up to look after the children, and then I went into jewelry making. But all the while that was going on, I was a secret eater, and that was my way of coping with not feeling comfortable with myself and worrying about being uh, just not the right person, really. I'd been bullied at school, and that had lasted with me for years, decades, really. So I
Uh,
went through, all sorts of diets, trying to lose weight, trying to sort of thinking that that would make me happier, thinking that that's what was going to solve the problem. Of course, it doesn't.
no, it
It's not the
doesn't.
problem.
No, I don't know if you know my story about because I've done TV, radio, and I've been on this morning and about my weight. So, and it's not. It's the trouble is, it's really hard, though, isn't it? You know, it's
Yeah,
really tough.
yeah, it is. It's so much about what's inside of you, not really about the food at all. It's taken me 4 decades to understand that,
Yeah, yeah.
to uh, to
Let's
finally
talk.
find it.
Let's talk about in the beginning. What was your weight? When did you think that things were piling on? You know, when did you think that all the weight was piling on?
It started when I was 11. I went to high school feeling I didn't know anybody. First day, walked in the classroom, 30 children with me, all excited. I was at a school that it was the school that all the parents wanted their daughters to go to, and I was really excited because I got a scholarship place there. Didn't know anybody. Mum said, "Don't worry, sweetheart. You're a friendly girl. You're going to make friends. It'll be absolutely fine." So of course I went in there thinking that that was going to happen. And the first day, the very first day, I looked for somebody to talk to because everybody seemed to know somebody. And I picked, sadly, a girl who decided that she was going to be my worst enemy. And within seconds almost of being there, she had literally come up behind me and said, "What are you doing here, fatso? You're not going to make any friends. You don't deserve to be here. Shouldn't be here."
Mm,
And it just totally destroyed me because I just didn't know what to do about it. I
yeah,
didn't know who to tell. I didn't know who to talk to about it.
yeah,
Just, as bullies do, don't they? I mean, if you've been bullied, they that's their power over you.
yeah.
I didn't.
I just have been writing a book, Angela, and about what I've been through, about my weight and what I've been through, and I've been bullied at school and everything, and it's not nice. And the trouble is, what people don't understand is several. You know, you got people out there who's like binge eating because they're going through a lot of problems, or there's people out there who just want to eat anyway, or there's other people who kind of like eat because they're depressed, they're down, they've got problems. Um, what made you? What kind of like? So when you was at school, tell us about go through the years. What was happening then? So you were being bullied, and what came to the point where you said to yourself, "I need to change"?
Well, so it's literally that day. Mum had said, if you don't want to go on the bus, you can keep the bus money. That could be like extra pocket money. We didn't obviously get very much pocket money. There was a lot of there was 8 of us in the family, so I couldn't go to the bus stop because these girls were standing there. So I walked home and went past the sweet shop, and a new friend, Cadbury's Dairy Milk, called out to me. And that, so I just, because she'd said I wouldn't get any friends, I think I sort of adopted this new friend, chocolate. And so that became my secret chocolate,
Yeah.
really. But
Right.
what happened was I didn't feel I could tell mum and dad because they were so proud I went to this school. And but I did tell one of my sisters, and I realised that she also was struggling at school, and she was actually heavier than I was. She was 4 years older than me, and struggling with her weight. And between the two of us, we kind of comforted each other. And we also did other things like, go to the chip shop on the way home from guides and things like that. So gradually, we had this kind of companionship with each other. But sadly, in her 40s, Helena, she couldn't cope with it anymore and she took her own life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, obviously that was a tremendous shock to all of us because we knew that she'd struggled, but we didn't expect her to do that. And that it after the sort of obviously the grief you go through, and all sorts of emotions, anger and obviously not understanding what it was. There was something inside of me that said, "You can't get yourself in that place. You've got to do something about it." So that's when I joined one of the biggest UK slimming club, which I'm sure you know what that is.
Swimming well.
Slimming World. And I'm not going to sort of go down on them, but I became a consultant later on for them.
All right.
Because I did get to a target weight, and still weight going up and down, and still, in all honesty, knowing that I hadn't really solved the problem because I was still battling with that constant desire to soothe myself with food. So I was fine if I was in a good place, that was great. I'd get on the scales, I'd be losing weight. But actually, if something went wrong, the chocolate came out, or the ice cream, that's another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it was keeping me kind of in control. So I became a consultant, and I loved that job. And I sort of thought, well, I'm going to be helping other people, and that will help me keep control. That's what I thought. But one of our own sons was very badly treated in his marriage, and I was supporting him, and so I was a consultant looking after these lovely, lovely ladies, and at the same time looking after this situation in my family, which was really, really traumatic. And my habits just came back, and so when I was driving over to my son, I was stopping at the Costa to get cake and smoothies and crisps and I don't know whether you've ever tried shapewear, Steve. I don't know whether they make it for men, but I found that that was what I was using basically to try and. So I was standing in front of my groups, hiding the fact, or trying to hide the fact that I was gaining weight again, and feeling like a total fraud because, how could I help these dear ladies and gentlemen when all I was doing was eating behind closed doors?
The
So
trouble is,
that's when the real
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
light went on. I can't do this.
The trouble is, so we're all human, and sometimes when we get pressured, and sometimes when we got lots of things on our mind, because to give up eating, it's all about the mind, about the mindset and everything. And I think, you know, don't start me off about the foods and the supermarkets because I'm a very avid obesity complainer too. I've got you know, um, and the trouble is, I just find it difficult at the moment to. when people come up to me and say, Steve, I'm having this problem and I'm having that problem, and I say to them, well, at the end of the day, it's only you got to do it. It's only you who's got to stop putting that food in your mouth. You know, I know it's harsh, but it's true fact. Do you
Yeah.
believe that or no?
Well, I think what suddenly dawned on me was I was, like, and I'm sure you probably said this yourself. You sit there and you think you're having a bad day, so you say, well, I deserve a treat.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna have my fish and chips. I'm gonna
yeah.
have a chocolate, and you
That's
call
it.
it a treat. And I stood there and I thought to myself, why am I calling it a treat? Why am I saying that I deserve this chocolate, or I'm going to spoil myself and have this chocolate? When the truth is, all I'm doing is spoiling the very thing that I really, really want, which was to live at a healthy weight. And so it was like that language in my head thinking, I wouldn't give my child something as a treat that was going to damage them. And yet all I'm doing is telling myself that I'm treating myself. And it began to make me realize that the real key to all of it is actually loving ourselves enough to want to care about ourselves. And so I had to go back, right back through my childhood, through the different things that had happened in my life, and look at the things that had stopped me from looking after myself. And actually, I had to sort of separate myself away from my metabolism and my body. And it sounds a bit weird actually, but because I began to be able to care about my insides almost as if I was caring for a child, and start loving the inside of my body and start looking after that while I was dealing with the emotions and everything else that was outside of me. So that's really turned my life around, and I understood. I looked at why I was eating and when I was eating, and I began to realize the times when I ate when I wasn't hungry at all, when I was kidding myself, and
Yeah,
how I'd be how, like, if there was food on my plate, I would think I had to finish it
yeah. That's
because
it. Yeah.
because
So
you had to finish it when you were a child, so you had to finish it.
yeah, yeah. Um, what was? I'm not sorry for asking, but what kind of weight were you?
So the heaviest I ever got to was about 14 stone. So and I know that that's not, for some people that would, they might be quite happy to be 14 stone, but I'm only 5'6", and my bone structure is quite small. So I didn't carry it very well.
Yeah.
I felt like a honey monster. I don't know if you remember the honey monster advert that used to be on years ago, was it? That's what
Did
I felt.
you?
And in fact, I've got one of my pictures that I sort of keep for myself. I don't really show it in public very often, but
No, you're all right. Don't worry.
that when I look back at it now, honestly, I look like the honey monster.
Yeah. And so today, so so when you look on the past, um, how are you today? Have you got rid of it, or have you got rid of your problem?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm now living at a healthy BMI and staying at it. And then, I might go up £5, down £5, but that's fine. That's just normal life. That's going on holiday. That's Christmas. That's, what we should be free to be able to do. So the difference for me now, well, I'll tell you what really, really made me realize that things had changed was two things. One, our eldest son had a serious problem where he was arrested for something that he didn't do. And we spent a whole year sort of fighting to get him cleared. And at the end of that year, when he was cleared and he was given costs and everything else, it was like I looked at my weight and I realized that it hadn't changed. I hadn't been eating the ice cream or anything like that. And so that was like a real success. And then the other thing was that I used to be terrified when people gave me boxes of chocolate. I used to think, why are you giving me chocolate for a birthday present? I'm trying to lose weight, because I was constantly trying to lose weight. Like, why are you giving me chocolate? And I'd have to get my husband to hide it, or because I'd be afraid I was going to eat it all, or else I would eat it all, one or the other. I couldn't just keep it in the house. And now, what I love most of all is if somebody gives me chocolates, I don't mind if they do, because I like chocolate, but I get more pleasure about leaving a box and just choosing one and just enjoying that one, and then knowing that the rest of them, in fact, if I hide them, it's so that I can have one each day with nobody else, so that they don't go and pinch them. And
Yeah,
I just, so it's like the freedom to be able to enjoy a chocolate and know that I can just have one and that's fine. I don't need the next one. I'm not sitting there waiting and worrying about eating the next one. That's, I mean, that's, it sounds just like a little thing to somebody who doesn't have a problem with food. It's going to be like, that doesn't sound very much, but to me, that is such a huge win.
yeah. And congratulations for that. When you know. So what are you doing today then? Because don't you help you're helping people now, aren't you?
Yeah, so I run my own business now called Shapeshifters Academy, and it's all about helping people to start right at the beginning to understand why they were eating in the first place. And what, because once you understand that, the weight loss happens. Once you've actually understand yourself and begin to sort of recognize things that have happened and start to put those things right. So sometimes it's about letting go of the past, because quite often people who binge eat or have, like for me, it was the bullying and it was the lack of self confidence, it was the trying to hide. All sorts of things can cause us. It's because overeating is just a coping mechanism. It's not a fault. It's not because somebody's a weak person or there's something wrong with them. It's just that food was the way that they coped. And I mean, other people might go drinking or smoking, or they might go running. I don't, well, I don't know whether I'd love to have gone running, but people go running as a coping mechanism to deal with stress. Those of us who use food, it's just the way that we deal with stress. It's not because we're a worse person. That's just the way that we deal with stress. So, learning what was making me stressed, what was it that was making me overeat, and putting those things right and letting go of them, putting them in the past, and understanding that now I'm in control of my future. That's what's made a difference. And so I have a system, a program that my members, my clients can go through themselves, and they can work out for themselves what it is that's making them go down that road. And that's just fascinating because uh, it's not about the diet. Diets, yeah, diets can help you lose weight. There's about a million diets out there, but some of them are so unhealthy. It's actually
Yeah.
just about eating properly and eating sensibly and enjoying your food.
Can I ask you a question about Slimming World now?
Yeah.
The trouble, I've been to Slimming World and I've tried all these diets and everything. The trouble is with Slimming World. Okay. Um, do you think Slimming World is a con?
So I think it's a con. Um, I think that there's a lot of lovely people who work for Slimming World.
Right.
I think that there's a lot of people who have gone into the job because they genuinely want to help people lose weight.
Right.
The trouble is that, in all honesty, there are very few people who will get to target and stay there, because what happens is they're following a plan and they're getting lots of comfort and support with people around them, because that's what, the community feeling of people, and you know that you're not on your own, you've got lots of other people around you. But what's not happening is that inside of that person things aren't changing. What's changing is what they're eating for a period of time, and they're learning, and they're kind of controlling it by
But
willpower. So they,
Slimming World don't touch on that, or do they? They don't
well,
touch
they
on.
touch on habit changes. So, when I
Yeah,
was
but
sort of, we would talk.
they don't they don't concentrate on the mindset and why you're eating.
Mm,
All you do, you turn up, you get weight, and you know, my experience is this is what happened right. I walked in, I I queue up, stand on the scales, right? Well done, you lost about I don't know, let's say about £3 or whatever it is. So you go right, oh I'm happy, £3. Then next minute it's like um someone had turned around to me, like I went past a chip shop, and I saw someone in there from Summerville, and they said, "Oh, because I lost £4, I'm treating myself.
Yeah. And that, do you know what? I mean, as a consultant, we used to just, it used to happen so much. And there often would be people who didn't stay to the meetings, they'd get weighed, be like, oh, you know, like you say, I've lost £3, £4, whatever it was, and now I can have my treat tonight because I've got weighed. So they'd be at the chip shop or chocolate bar or whatever it was on the way home.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, and the biggest thing for me is that most diets of any kind, doesn't matter whether they're Slimming World, Weight Watchers, keto diet, whatever it is, they are controlled by willpower. And when you're in the zone and you've got the willpower to say no, you can lose weight. Anybody can. Anybody in the whole world can lose weight for a period of time. But willpower isn't constant, it
Yeah.
doesn't last. And if you haven't dealt with the things that knock your willpower off, and for me, it could be anything from tiredness, it could be sadness, obviously, it could be pain and grief, that kind of thing. It could be
Well,
lack of
I
sleep.
I was when I did the documentary on Channel 5. I did a documentary, and I went to this morning, me and my wife, and I lost 11 stone in 6 months,
Right. Wow.
right, through boot
Yeah.
camp, and that's what, like with like exercise and diet.
Mhm.
The trouble is, so you can go to Slimming World, you can pay all the £4.50 you want, and you keep going back there, going back there, going back there, going back there. And it's fine doing that. But the trouble is, if you're not really got the mindset to kind of like say, right, I'm going to, I've had enough. I don't like myself, so I'm going to sort my weight out. If you go swimming with a mindset that you're going to do that, that's fine. But if you're going to go to mindset thinking, oh, well, okay, I'll keep on the plan for a little while because I've got to get into that dress or trousers, say, right? And and then next minute, say lose around about 6, £7, then go outside and go right. Okay, I'm gonna have a KFC. You know
Yeah.
what? What is the point?
Well, that's just it, isn't it? I think, as I say, I think there's a lot of people there that really want to help people, but
Yeah,
until that person themselves gets to the bottom of why they keep doing that, things aren't going to change.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the bit that's not there. So it's not there in most weight loss plans out there.
And
How many people do you see that lose a lot of weight, and actually, if you go and see them 6 months later, a lot of weight's gone back on again?
oh yeah, of course, of course. I remember when I lost all my weight, and I came back and I had a stroke, and it was down to a lot of it was the when I went to boot camp, it was tough. It was really tough, and it played on my heart and everything. And I came back out of stroke, and that was it then. And I put my weight, put some weight back on. But what I'm trying to say with some people that is the trouble is all these diets. Yes, they will help you lose weight. Yes, they will do this and they do that, and you can spend thousands on it. But really, if you're going to be in the right mindset to lose weight, then that's fine. And if you're not in the mindset, don't bother going to slimming world or any other swimming club because it'd be a waste of money if you're not going to have a mindset.
And for me, what's changed for me really is that the mindset is not about willpower anymore. It's about my belief in myself and the fact
That's
that
it. Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what so my
yeah,
passion now is helping people to change their mindset for life.
yeah.
I'm not interested in helping people lose weight for Christmas or lose weight for a wedding. I'm only interested in losing weight for life.
Do you know what? Do you know, sorry, but um, swimming world's busiest time is in January. True or
Yeah,
fact?
absolutely true.
Yeah. And the majority of people they come along and they go right. New Year's revelation. I want to lose so much stone. and they're there for about 6 weeks. And what happens? They just fade off one by one after a while.
Mm.
Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, no, that's a well-known fact. There's three busy times. January is the busiest. April and September. April because they want to get into the swimsuits. September because they want to get in the black dress for Christmas.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but you know, you and I both know it'll be the same people. They'll come and they'll rejoin. And bless them. You know, I've met so many lovely people doing that job,
yeah,
but my heart goes out to them because so few of them will actually get successfully to where they want to get to
yeah, yeah.
and stay there. They'll get there sometimes, but they won't stay there.
Anyway, I want to come off there because I want to talk about you. Sorry. So, so now so tell us what you do now, and if anybody like myself or somebody said, right, Angela, I need to sort my way out. I want to do something. I want to change my life around. How do you? How, what would you advise me and other people out there?
Well, so what I do is I run a 6 month program, and we work together one to one, and we work together in a small group, and we talk. We go right back to the beginning, and we look at the relationship with food, and that's the first thing that anybody needs to do. They need to sit down. And obviously, it's easier to do it with somebody than to do it on your own because it's quite challenging. And so it's looking back at the different ways you've used food in your life. It's like your story. It's almost like opening a book and saying, okay, let's go back and see what your relationship has been. And we look also at things like, did anybody ever tell you that you were overweight? Or did you hear it? I mean, I can remember hearing somebody talking about me being, I think she called it puppy fat, and I thought that was a horrible thing to say, and it
Mm,
stuck in my mind. So it's going back and looking, and it can be childhood, and it can be teenagers, it could be an abusive marriage. It's just going back and looking at the story and
mm,
unpicking where the habits developed around food. And then it's also looking at that and saying, taking away the shame of it, because so many people carry such guilt around the overeating. So we look at that and we take away that because there should be no shame in it at all. It is just a coping mechanism. We spend quite a bit of time doing that, depends on the person, but quite often there's some quite deep rooted beliefs around food and about themselves that they've been sort of comforting with food. So we need to go back and we need to look at those things. But it's not about living in the past, and it's not about blaming anybody. So one of the best things out is that we work on letting go of any of the false beliefs that we've developed around ourselves. Because usually we've seen ourselves as failures, as weak, as greedy, as just sort of lacking in self control, all of those things that most people who struggle with food will have thought about themselves. But we let go of all those things. And where anybody's put us into that box, where anybody's told us that we're greedy, or and also when anybody's been cruel or unkind to us, then I talk a lot about forgiving those people because usually those people carried pain themselves. I don't blame those girls that bullied me. They were horrible. But now I know that what was going on in their life was probably horrible too. They were doing it because of something that was happening to them, not because they were just wicked people. And so I can let go of the pain that I carried. I can forgive that pain and let go of it. And decide that I'm not going to let them destroy my future. They've no right to. So we look a lot at that. We do spend quite a lot of time on that. And then we start to look at what beliefs you would like to have about yourself and what beliefs would you like to have about food. And we start to talk about setting ourselves. Well, how would I like to feel when I go into a restaurant? What would I like to be able to choose from the menu? Because I don't know about you, but I used to if I went to a restaurant, I would look at the menu and I'd see the people around me and I would choose like the lowest calorie thing on the menu, not because I wanted it, but because I was afraid that the other people would think I was greedy if I ate the wrong thing. So I'd have a salad and then I'd go home and eat the ice cream when they weren't watching because I was still hungry. So now we spend time thinking, okay, so what would you like to be like? And we start looking at that. So that's rebuilding our relationship. And then we actually start to think, well, what do we want other people to think about when they see us? How do we want to present ourselves to people? And we start looking at changing other people's expectations, because when you've been somebody that's overeaten, you'll invariably find people saying, "Oh, Angie will finish that up. She'll take the cake home because she always does," or all those things that people assume that you're going to do. And we start changing that and start rebuilding who we want other people to see us. And as we start to do that, we start to believe in ourselves. So my clients will start to believe in themselves again, and they'll start to realize they don't need food as a comfort. They don't need food as a strength. They don't need food to keep them awake. They start to develop all sorts of other habits. And as they start to do that, of course, they start to lose weight. They start to believe in themselves. And then we start living in our new, it's just a whole new way of looking at yourself. And so it's not, we take the focus off the food, the focus becomes on us and who we are and who we were always meant to be. And most of us who struggle with food have been robbed of who we were meant to be by something in our lives that's taken us down that journey. And it's usually lack of self esteem. As I said, it could be bullying. Sometimes it's an abusive marriage, an abusive relationship. But there's usually something in our lives that has taken us down that path. And so that's what we work on. And as we work on that, the mindset changes and we realize we don't need willpower. It's not about willpower, it's about loving ourselves. And that's really what it's like, a journey. It's like an adventure of discovery to actually start loving yourself as you were always meant to. Because if there's nobody else to do it at the end of the day, it's about us loving ourselves. Once we do that, the other things fall into place. I love it. It's so exciting watching somebody's face as they start to realize that they are not a failure. They're not in this place because they're weak. They're just in that place because that's all that they knew what to do. I don't know if chocolate hadn't been there for me, would I have chosen something else? Probably not, because food was always going to be my comfort mechanism.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. You know what? You are very inspiring person in what you do, and thank goodness there's people out there who can kind of like help people as well, because and you come over across, very genuine. You're very, you know, very kind of like you care. I'm not trying to be horrible, but I've been doing obesity campaigning for a while now, and there's people out there who go on programs like this, but all what they're worried about, Angela, is money. We all need money, you know. But at the end of the day, we, you know, only we care about people and kind of like helping people and try to save people's lives. That's all what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we need more people like you.
Right, thank you. Because the thing that gets me so mad at the moment, they keep banging on about obesity, the government on the news and everything, and all they offer is sugar taxes or bariatric surgery,
Yeah,
or now they're saying let's sell chocolate in unpretty packaging. Like that's going to be the solving of the problem.
yeah.
It
The
makes me
trouble is,
so mad.
the trouble is, I do, I've tried. Well, I used to live in Plymouth. Closed one takeaway down. I must admit, but I had a fight against KFC. I tried I tried closing down KFC. There was a takeaway, a pizza place that I managed to close down, right? But the trouble is, what you got to remember is this. My concern was that with children, child obesity rates is really piled up.
Yeah,
So by law, takeaways has got to be uh, quite far away from primary school or secondary school. Um, it's got to be it's the law.
mm,
And did you know this certain school next door to this school had a chip shop, a takeaway, right? And and when I went to ask one of the MPs, they said, "Oh no, this can't be right." They, are you sure? Are you sure that they are kind of like serving takeaway? I said, "It's a takeaway. Go and have a look." And do you know, I I kind of like said to him, "Look," I said, "Look, you're on about kind of like encouraging people to go home and have a healthy meal, healthy food, and all this lot. But why you got takeaways open and building them next door to schools and tempting the children when they come out to school? Where they're going to go first when they come out of school? KFC, Wimpy, or whatever, McDonald's, if you got it around the corner. They don't want mum's cooking. They'd rather have that. Wonder why we've got issues with obesity in this country.
mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to be honest, they're probably having the takeaway and having mum's cooking at home. So it's not even like they're having just the one.
I know. And and I remember talking to Jamie Oliver a few years back, and he said, "Steve, it's honestly we've I've been to schools, I've been to everywhere trying to sort it all out, and it's a major concern. And the government, all what the government think about is making money.
Mm,
They're not, if they, can you imagine it, right? If they close down the takeaway, I'm not saying it's going to solve the crisis, the obesity crisis. It will help it, but the trouble is, you got when you go to a supermarket, you got all the sweet aisles, the chocolate, right by the till.
yeah,
What's that all about? You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's but please don't start me off. But so so if anybody wants to contact you and want to get help, how can they do that?
So there's two ways. We've got a Facebook group that's called Losing Weight for Life with Shapeshifters Academy. And that, if they look at losing weight for life, they'll find us because that's what we're about. We're not about, like I say, we're not about losing weight for Christmas. It's losing weight for life. It's like, let's do it and let's keep it off. So they find us that way. Shapeshifters Academy is also on Facebook. They can find that. I do have a website actually, which is called www.shapeshiftersacademy.com. That's just being updated at the moment though, so they won't be able to get into it. But Shapeshifters Academy, if they search for that on Facebook, they'll find me. And
Brilliant.
then you can book a just literally book a free 15-minute call with me. There's links to do that, and we just have a chat, and I can explain a little bit more about how I can help. And there's different ways. So we've got weekly groups. It's just like a monthly membership. So weekly groups that just support people that just want that extra bit of help trying to find out which way they want to lose weight. And then we've also got different courses that people can do and a 6-month program where they can really, if somebody's really serious about sorting it out, then it's the longer program is what they need because it actually takes them right back to the beginning. But
Right.
sometimes people just want to get to know me first, and then we
Yeah.
just come and join in. Like tonight at 8 o'clock, there's a support group.
Right. Okay. Good. Good. Right, guys. Don't forget, Angela Roth. You know me, guys. I do not have anybody on any of my shows if they are not genuine or they really not, about helping people. I every person on my shows, it's got to be helping people, and that's why I asked Angela to come on and other people to come on. So please, please support. Go on our website and or contact her, and I'll put all the details up on our website. And please stay in contact with her. I tell you what, I would love you to come back sometime
Yeah,
to
no problem.
talk more about obesity. I'll get my wife to contact you, and because that's really good. And thank you very much for joining me, and have a good support group. Thank you.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you, Steve.
And cheers. Nice to meet you too, Angela. Thank you.
You take care.